Well, anyway, it's a good book, and I recommend that you buy one and read it. Now, the only book that I recommend that you buy is Gravitational Force of the Sun by Perry Spolter. And the reason I recommend you buy this is because she proves that Einstein was a fraud, nothing but a fraud. He took credit for the only Nobel Prize he got in 1921 was the work of his wife, and his wife was more interested in money than fame. So they made an agreement where if he would give her the money for the Nobel Prize, she wouldn't say that she was the one that actually did the work. And not only does Perry proved that Einstein was a fraud, but also that Newton's second law is not true, and we've already discussed this. And what it is that there is no basis for Newton's assumption that the gravitational force is due to and is proportional to the quantity or density of matter. Now, I'd like to just read just one short sentence. Sheldon Day asked her for a telephone interview, and she wrote him back, and she didn't copy me, but Sheldon copied the email, and it says, "Dear Sheldon, thank you for your email. My only son, Dave, died March 19th. It's been very hard on me." He says, "I appreciate your invitation for a radio interview. I do not think I will be a good guest. I do not hear too good. It would be better if you interview John Lear. He has my book and all my papers. He has asked many challenging and smart questions in our correspondence. He has a special gift to popularize difficult scientific material and present it in an interesting way." And when I read this, my head swelled up so big that I couldn't get out of my den for 2 days. Because here's Perry Spolter, more knowledgeable than Einstein, telling me that I had a special gift. I mean, merely had to push food in the door of my den before I could get my head swelled down to the side so I could get out of the den.
Oh, very funny. Well, okay, that's very interesting. And what's the name of the Perry's book again?
Gravitational Force of the Sun.
Okay, so that's
mathematical. You have to have at least college math to understand it, and if you don't have college math, read it anyway to get the gist of what she's saying about Newton's second law and about Einstein. And
okay, well,
I have a 15-page summary of the book on thelivingmoon.com if you want to read a 15-page summary.
Oh, great. Okay, fabulous. Well, I encourage everyone to do that. I want to go back to the ring makers of Saturn because I don't like being knocked off the air, and that means that there's something very important going on there. Is there anything else you can tell us about those ships? Because, Norman is not the only one who's talked about the ships. We've also heard there were ships near the sun. And what do you know anything else, any other bits of information from ring makers of Saturn or that Norman was involved in researching that had to do with those ships and why they were there?
No, I don't. I know that his primary research after that book was on Japetus. And he had a lot of good information on that I got out of him. And as far as the sun, Sleeper talks about a transfer station near the sun where it's it's a cube, 5 miles by 5 miles by 5 miles, and it's where they transfer people into different spaceships going all over the universe and solar system. And he describes the big ones, the small ones, the people there, how you stand in line, all the little shops there that you can buy stuff at. It's really very interesting. And that one is in his book called A Day with an Extraterrestrial. And it's Lou Baldin, Baldin.
Okay. All right. Well, as far as Iapetus, that's very interesting. What did he tell you about that? Did he tell you it was inhabited?
I'm sure it's inhabited, but he was telling us the pictures we were getting were fraudulent. They were obviously airbrushed, and he told me what it did look like, and I drew it, and he said it does not orbit as I think it's in a stabilized orbit, or what do they call it, a non-rotational orbit. But that was going to be his next project.
Okay, but why? Do you know why he was so interested in it?
No.
Okay. Okay, we've heard that there's a race of beings that are coming in through the Kuiper Belt at this time, that they've not been here before, that they've just arrived. We've got evidence they're coming in through the Gulf of Aden Stargate. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I've heard about the Gulf of Aden. I've tried to explain to everybody the reason there's a buildup at the Gulf of Aden is because if there is an Iranian, if we do have a war with Iran, it'll cut off the Straits of Hormuz, which is where all the oil comes out. And the only other way to ship oil out of Saudi Arabia is through that great big pipeline that goes from the north to Yanbu. That's Yanbu in the southwest of Saudi Arabia. And then what they'll do is they'll either go through the Suez Canal or go down through the Gulf of Aden. Now, the Gulf of Aden is extremely important, and, you know, I played a role in that in 77 when I delivered the first arms and ammunition to the Somali government so that we could, it was a trade that we took over the port of Berbera, which was in the Gulf of Aden. It was a deep water port, and the Russians had built it. And the Somalis were ticked off at the Russians and kicked them out. And we came in with guns and ammunition and ingratiated ourselves to the Somali government solely because we could take over that port of Berbera, which we needed to secure our position in the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea in case the Straits of Hormuz were cut off.
Okay, well, we don't have a whole lot of time. I have one last question. What about the Ark of the Covenant? You think the Ark is in Yemen?
No. I know something about that, and I completely forgot about it. So next time we talk, I'll write down what I know about it, and we'll talk about it.
That sounds great. Okay, John Lear, we're at the end of the show. I really, really appreciate you coming on with me today. I think you're a fascinating guy, and I really appreciate the amount of years and dedication you've spent investigating all aspects of this puzzle that we call the big picture. And I think that you've done a very valuable service to humanity, and you have a lovely way of looking at the world. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Carrie.
All right. And to everyone, this has been Carrie Cassidy, Project Camelot, projectcamelot.org. I encourage you to visit our website, watch our videos, go to thelivingmoon.com, which is John Lear's website, and watch our interviews. We have 2 video interviews with John Lear, one that is particularly long and involved and shows a lot of his research, and I do encourage everyone to watch it. So take care, and we'll be back next week. If we're lucky, with Daryl Sims is supposed to be my guest at that time. So take care, John, and thank you very much again.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.